feel like you're done. Just look up. Love's pouring down, yeah. Hey, he understands everything. Healing is in his wings. So we must put on da. Yes, sir. He shows how much he cares by sharing the load we bear. So we must put our trust in God. Even when we don't understand, and it seems the world is falling apart. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Invite somebody to share. Carbonic H, good morning. I see your question. We'll jump on it in 1 second. Invite somebody to share. Trace his hand. Only trust. But you can trust his heart. Yeah. My brother, will you please? It's so sweet to trust in God. For grace to trust in God. Trust in God. Come on. Trust in God. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully you had a peaceful night's rest. I did. Slept like a baby. Slept like a baby, and I'm here to remind you of our rightful place. We are on week 3 of our Love Yourself campaign. We've got the shirts, Love Yourself, and then of course we have the Love Yourself mugs. If you like a Love Yourself t-shirt, Love Yourself coffee time mug, hit me up. Those of you that I have your orders, we're going to get the rest of them out today. We've been delivering since Wednesday. Pretty much got all of them delivered, and a few more. We're going to take care of those today. So a part of the Love Yourself campaign is we focus on truth. We focus on who we are as a people. So before we go any further with that, let me just say good morning to everybody. Tina White McPherson, good morning. Trina, you know I'm praying for you and baby girl. Have you lifted up? Carbonic H, good morning. Thanks for joining us. I will answer your question in a second. Thank you for joining us. Angela Hobbs, good morning. Lynette Leah Wilcock, good morning. Tina White McPherson, good morning. Monica Shack, got an opportunity to jump on your live yesterday. Great job. Great job. You almost made me buy something, but I was in the middle of something and I couldn't. I just wanted to kind of peep in and see what was going on. Pi Wilkerson, good morning. Sharon Brooks, hey, good morning, Sharon. Angela Hobbs, good morning. Rhonda Oliver, good morning. Edith Hodges, good morning. Delta Blake, good morning. So I'm going to let a little secret out of the bag and hopefully you guys will understand. So we've reached a crucial time, signing a deal with Sony, of course, and still in the contract stages of signing a deal with Warner Brothers. Coffee Time is still expanding her market. With that, we are also on YouTube. We live stream to about 2 Facebook pages, YouTube, LinkedIn, as well as Periscope. So there are 5 to 8 platforms that we stream live to. In addition to that, we do a live podcast. Most of our broadcasts that are done here are sent directly in to the networks, and this is the content. So when I'm saying your name, you being on here, you've given me permission to use your name to say good morning. They're going to all of our platforms. Come January 1, all of our streaming things that we do live are going directly to all of our platforms. So I'm excited about that. It's a good time. But in saying that, I want you to know that we have some great new things coming on. There are some voices in the earth that I believe should have a bigger platform. Not that my platform is the largest, but I'm grateful for what he has given me. I believe when we honor him over small things, he makes us ruler over much. And we're going to be endorsing different voices, and I'm excited about that. So we have a lot of things coming in 2021. Also, let me say to you, for those of you who are using Facebook Live to market, to advertise, to talk about what you have going on, I would love to help you. Come 2021, I'm going to launch a live campaign. It's going to be a 9 to 12 week course. Believe it or not, there is a science to this. We don't just hit a button and come on live. Now, some people do. But if you're going to get the attention of advertisers and people that are going to sponsor you and give you money, there is a science that you need to be aware of. I'm going to launch that class come January 2021. In addition to that, YouTube, believe it or not, folk, listen to me carefully. YouTube is paying a lot of money for you to do what you do on their platform. I have a friend, personal buddy, that makes over $45,000 a month on YouTube. So when I was telling you all, hey, follow me on YouTube, the reason is I want to tap into that market. Now, here's the other thing. I want to help you tap there as well. Come January 2021, when we do the classes, it's a 9 to 12 week course that you're going to have to take. I'm going to show you how to unlock your YouTube channel so that you can get paid from it. God has given me favor with some key people in key places, and I am absorbing this information, and I want to give it to the right people, place it in the right hands. I'm real careful now. I used to give the information to everybody until I learned there's a scripture that says don't cast pearl on swine. Some people just waste your time. You waste my time, you waste my life. So I have an attitude about all the time that I wasted with people that I was trying to help, and they didn't do anything with the information. They continue to allow procrastination and fear to beat them down. And many of you may say, well, Terrence, you did your part. You just give it to God. No, we are called to judge things on the earth. God is called to judge things in heaven. Once God starts judging in the earth, he does it through people. So there are some people that I've judged. I'm not going to waste my time with you. I don't think they're on here now, for the record, but I'm just saying, so there are going to be some things that I'm going to do to help you build your platform, help you build that YouTube channel. There is monetization qualifications involved. I'm going to get you qualified. I'm going to help you get everything that you need so that you can start collecting a check. I am in my last stage, and after January, I believe, I'll get my first check. So what I need you all to do, if you do not have a YouTube channel, start one today. Everybody can do it. Start a YouTube channel today, and let's practice maybe tonight or maybe this afternoon when I come on. I want you to come on through your YouTube channel. Listen, they paid top dollar. This is no game. It's no gimmick. You don't have to be a celebrity to tap into it, but there are some things that do have to be in place. I want to help you get there. All right. No matter what it takes, I want to help you get there. I want you to grow as I'm growing. I've not received my check yet, but I have several friends that have. One of my good friends, listen, that $45,000 a month changed my mind. Come on here. So going into 2021, there's going to be a multiplicity of things that you're going to put your hands to create several streams of income. And believe it or not, some of these streams can be easy and they're very practical. It's just going to take a little consistency and a little effort. And I'm going to show you how to do that for the benefit of you who may not know me. I've done this for it's 8 years now. And in my 8th year, just coming on Facebook Live, I got a TV show coming on Facebook Live. I got the connections to sign, deal with Sony, Warner Brothers. And we're still growing. And I want you to know there's a way that you can do it because I own my own product. They don't own nothing. They just give me the platform. So I'm grateful to God for that. I really am. And I want to help you do the same. So there are going to be some qualifications in order to get into the class. But if you're interested, you can start sending your inbox over. And when we make the information available, I'm going to contact you personally, help you get set up, and we'll go from there. YouTube pays top dollar. Now, I could have been selfish and kept that secret to myself, but no, I'm going to spread the word and I'm going to share the wealth because someone had to share it with me. All right, so our topic this morning is Black Lives Matter. For those of you that are selling things online, it's open to you too. Get that money. The bag is here. We just got to go get the bag. So our topic this morning is Black Lives Matter or No Lives Matter. And Carbonac H asked the question, and I want to post it. And this is a good way to kick this off this morning because I think it's good. I really do. Let me say this too. I'm not the type of person that if I disagree with you, I'm mad at you or I hate you and I think you're invalid. That's not me. Even if we disagree, I have love for everybody. So Carbonac, and I hope I'm saying that correctly. If I'm not, please forgive me and make the correction. I'd love to hear from you. He says, would all lives matter not be appropriate as well? And I like the way he phrased the question because he asked, would all lives matter not be appropriate as well in conjunction to? He didn't say instead, so it's not an either or. He was saying, would all lives matter not be appropriate as well? And I want to say to that, there's two sides of that coin. The first side of that coin is we should know all lives matter. We should know that. If we're speaking from a theological place, if we're speaking from a spiritual place, a God place, a place of faith, all lives matter. For God so loved the world because all lives matter, God so loved the world that he gave his only son. But in America, that statement is not true. There's an ugly truth that we're constantly confronted with in America, and it is the inequality and disparity of Black Americans. And the ugliest of this truth is whenever it is brought up, seemingly, white America finds a way to snatch the rug from under us. Now, there is a organization of Black Lives Matter, and then there's the statement of Black Lives Matter. I support the statement of Black Lives Matter. It's a true statement. No matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing, it's a true statement. When my daughter was small, they had what we call play day. For those of you from Duval, if you're from Duval, you understand that the last day of school, we had play day. Well, when my daughter was coming up in school, they had a play day, but it wasn't the last day of school. It was a fun activity for all of the kids to come out and just play games, etc., etc. They wore a certain color. Some kind of way, me and her mom missed the message. She did not have that color on, and listen, she made me pay. I was there. And I never forget, we worked it out within the first 45 minutes to get her in uniform. But prior to that, she felt left out. She didn't look like the other kids. She didn't feel like she fit in with the other kids. The other kids were playing games. They were winning. So we were congratulating the other kids, and she sat to the side with a sad face, and I had to pull her to the side, and I said to her, "Hey, sweetheart, you're a winner too." Well, me telling her she was a winner does not negate the fact that they all were winners, but I had to focus in on where the problem was. And in focusing in on where the problem was, I had to remind her that she was a winner. In America has been very unjust at letting African Americans know they're winners too. The saddest part about this injustice is, unless you live where we live, sit where we sit, you would never understand the voice behind our statement when we say Black Lives Matter. So when we say Black Lives Matter, we are not saying all lives don't matter. We're saying we have to promote Black Lives Matter because that's where the biggest struggle is. Being a young man, full of life, full of vigor, energy, I decided to take my cousins to the beach. It was me, my little brother Charles, my cousin Lee, my cousin Eric Lamont, and I believe two of my other cousins. We were all in a Honda Civic. It had just came out. It was brand new. We were on our way from the beach. We'd had a great time this Sunday evening, and on our way up Atlantic Boulevard, as you approach, there's a Denny's there now. As you approach that Denny's, we were pulled over by the police, and immediately, instinctively, I told all of my cousins and my brother, hey, make sure you're cooperative with the police. Make sure you don't make any quick moves. Make sure you keep your hands where they can see you. Don't give them a reason to insult us. And they pulled us over. Officer came to the car with his hand on his gun. Another officer was off to the side. They asked to see the license and registration. I told them it was in the glove box, reached into the glove box, gave them the license and registration. I was extremely careful in my movement. I placed my hand on the wheel on 12 and 2 after I gave him the information. He said, wait right there and do not get out of the car. We waited there. 5 minutes later, there were about 8 to 9 police cars, not officers, cars, that showed up and surrounded the vehicle. The interesting part is after all of his buddies got there, they asked us to get out of the car. I asked, did we do anything wrong? He said, you had an illegal lane change. Well, that's a lie, because I saw him in my rearview mirror. And you know how it is, once you see the law, you're definitely in the way that the climate in our country is right now, you don't want to do anything to tick off the po-po. So even back then, believe it or not, the climate was similar. And they got us out of the car, sat us on the edge of the curb. Then they told us to lay on our stomach, put our hands behind our back, cross our legs. I am asking, sir, I think I was 20 years old at the time. What did we do wrong? Keep in mind, this was a Sunday. We had planned to go to the beach. And what we did is we went to church first. After we left church, we went and ate. After we got something to eat, we went and walked the beach. Later got in and just made a day out of it. So we had a great day. And I asked, sir, what do we do wrong? He said, shut up. If I want you to know something, I'll tell you. Prior to then, I had had no experiences whatsoever with racial disparity, with inequality. I hadn't, to my knowledge. I grew up in a all black community, but I had uncles who married outside of their race. They married Caucasians, and it integrated our family. We were accustomed to seeing white people because I grew up with them. We didn't know any difference. We weren't raised to know that color has boundaries. We heard of the history. We had read about Dr. Martin Luther King, civil rights movement, but I had no knowledge from experience on what the racial divide actually looked like, or I had never had any experiences. My high school year, I went to private school, predominantly white outside of my family. It was also during that time my parents changed churches. We went to an all white church. At that time, the population of blacks was maybe 5 to 10%. In those times, church was huge. Church had over 2,000 to 3,000 members. This is in some years ago, because I'm 29. So being raised in a school, private school, all white kids of different nationalities, and a church where the pastor was white, his wife was white, the leadership of that church was white. There was one black person at that time that was an elder in that church. I didn't see color. I didn't know what it was. I saw people. I have family members, cousins who are mixed. Their mothers are white. I didn't see color. Grew up not seeing color. Not really knowing the difference. So you mean to tell me they hated us because we were black? Saw slave movies, heard slave stories, saw TV shows that talked about the civil rights movement, studied Dr. King. But I hadn't experienced anything. I only knew from a historical point of view. The racial divide that went on in America. Growing up, the school system, along with the church system, demonized Malcolm X. They told us that Malcolm X was divisive. They told us that he was halfway demonic and that we should not be associated with Muslims. I got that out of church. It came from church. So growing up, I never really paid attention to Brother Malcolm, primarily because they demonized him. And when you're up under the influence of somebody else's teaching, it's not until you divorce what you learn or use what you learned as a foundation and set out to discover and look further that you begin to discover or rediscover truths that were hidden from you. They demonized Brother Malcolm. We didn't study him or Muslims. During that time, we were taught the only people who's going to heaven was Church of God in Christ. And I've got to be fair when I say this. It wasn't just the white church that demonized Malcolm X. It was the black church as well. So, being raised in those environments, I saw color from the perspective of, I know you're not black, but it had no gravity in my heart. It had no weight in my being, because I thought we were all the same, just different frames, just different colors of houses. As I began to grow, and when I had that first experience, it changed my life. Because now, so after they laid us on our stomach, put our hands behind the back, made us cross our leg, they held us there hour and a half, couldn't find anything on any of us. When they let us go, the officer that pulled us over initially, I looked at him. I looked at him in his face, and I told him, you were wrong. And just because we're black, we're not criminals. And I will report you to your sheriff. I believe Nat Glover was sheriff at that time. I believe, I'm not certain. No, he wasn't sheriff at that time. He wasn't. I'm sorry. Well, whoever the sheriff was, I said I was going to report him. And this is what he told me. Do what you need to do, boy. Next time, be careful what you drive and where you drive. I don't know if I told you about, they had their guns drawn on us. We were kids. I was the oldest one in the car. My cousins were 15, 14. My brother was 13. I was responsible for them. I never experienced that level of fear. Then looking down the eye of a Glock, 9mm Glock, and it changed my worldview. So I began to study more intensely in regards to equality and some of the things that happen in America, and I began to look through a different scope. From that time to now, I've had so many run-ins with the police. I used to drive a Pepsi Blue Audi A6. I bought that car, I think, in 2004. It was during the time when black people didn't drive Audis for whatever reason. And it had buttercream seats. It was custom design. I made the money. I do what I want to do with my money. I kid you not. Let me tell you why I got rid of the car. I was living on the west side close to Orange Park at the time. I got rid of the car because I got tired of being pulled over by the police. Every time I got pulled over, with the exception of one time, I had on a full suit. I was a banker going to and from work. And I kid you not, in the first year that I had the car, I got pulled over at least 60 times. I got rid of the car just because I got tired of the trouble. So when we say Black Lives Matter, these are the things that we face on a day-to-day basis. I never forget, I was on a job. I was in banking, and it was time for me to get my promotion. Listen, I killed the job. The numbers speak for themselves. And when they brought me in, they said, ordinarily we give you a promotion, but we want to watch you another year. And I asked, well, have I met the expectations? Yes, and exceeded them. So why is it that you want me to wait another year? I needed my money. But why is it you want me to wait another year? Well, we think you're doing an excellent job. We just want to make sure you're consistent. After 12 months, bro, you can't see that I've been consistent. Not only have I met your goals, I've exceeded your expectations. I'm the type of person, I get to work early and I leave late. I work weekends. I did what nobody else would do because I understand, being a black man in America, that I was going to have to go over and beyond just to get a fair handshake. And they passed me over. They passed me over for the raise. I quit the job. They called, asked me to come back 2 times. Nope. One of the things my father taught me as a kid, he taught me a trade. I was a drywall contractor, and I could do drywall. I still can. I do it from time to time. In fact, I've got a contract coming up with drywall that I'm going to meet. So when corporate didn't do me right, I always had something to fall back on. It's called being black in America. I never forget another story. They were neighbors living next door to, at the time, my children lived with their mother. We lived in, of course, divorce, and their neighbors were white, and they had called my daughter effing something nigger. She recorded the conversation. She sent it to me while I was at work. I'm not proud of this, but I sure did it. I went and confronted them and kicked their door down, and I was going to jail that day. It's one thing when you give it to me, it's something completely different when you give it to my kids. What am I saying? What are these stories about? Oh, I have hundreds that I can share. Carbonic, to answer your question, in America, all lives do not matter. So it's an untrue and it's an unfair statement. So I understand appropriation, but in this case, when it comes to black lives, to the general population, we don't matter. Therefore, I have to, as a voice, as a black man being a part of the black community, I have to remind my people how important we are to society. Your dad is a wise man. Thank you, Melanie. Monica Shack, I probably would have did the same thing. Jesus, take the wheel. Listen, it was ugly that day. It was ugly. Give me a second, y'all. Sorry. This stuff bothers me. It does. It bothers me. It was just an ugly situation. P. Coffee Brown says, I've had to deal with that for my son. Melanie, I got you. So it's rough for black people. I have a friend. She's been my homie for a long time, who had to use her middle name at work so people wouldn't know her first name, because they judge us by name too. Arne Hargraves, good morning. White America will look at our name and try to predict who we are. They stereotype us. I never forget, I was working at Media One. And I worked in the sales department, new account sales. And there was a friend of mine at the time. He was a pastor. He wanted to use my car to get lunch. He was just struggling. I let him use my car. That was when you could trust people back then. And I went downstairs, and there was a older lady, Caucasian lady, that was the receptionist downstairs. I come downstairs laughing. Probably, I was probably loud, knowing me. And I'm laughing, and she said, "Lower your voice." And I looked at her. I said, "And who are you talking to?" "I'm talking to you. You people are just too loud." At that moment, I knew when you pull out the "you people," yeah, this is not going to be good. But at the time, I was married. I had one child, and I'm trying to work my way up the corporate ladder. So I had to weigh the pros and cons. I decided she's not even worth my time. I gave my friend my keys, told him to be careful. I went back in, and as I'm going back into the building, she yells, "Who is your manager? I'm going to report you." For what? You're the one that made the racial slur, and you're going to report me? Well, she did. Maybe a couple hours later, my supervisor pulled me into his office. These were his words. He said, "I believe you threatened that poor dear woman." The lady, she looked like she was 98, but she could have been 62. Because, some of them age fast. He pulled me in the office. He said, "I believe you threatened that poor little lady." He says, "You're tall, you're big, your voice is heavy." I said, "Oh yeah, and I'm black." Being tall, being big, having broad shoulders shouldn't make you a threat. Especially I had on a suit. I've never been belligerent. I've never acted outside of character. Well, maybe one time in the corporate. One time I did. I almost turned the desk over. But I had probable cause. Anyway, and he wrote me up. And I told him I'm not signing that because I don't agree with what you're saying. You're taking her side and you weren't there. He says, "Well, we have cameras. I hope you do." And I wouldn't sign, so they wrote me up again for not signing the first time. And then his boss came in and said, "If you don't sign this and we write you up again, that is your final." I got wrote up 2 times in one day. Now I had to make a decision. Here was the decision. Do I stand up for what's right and push my cause and sacrifice what I'm trying to do with my family? Or do I just take it on the chin, remember it, and one day fight it? I decided to take it on the chin. I remember being in church, and there was a particular usher, white guy. I don't know what he had against us, my family, but he'd always sit us, and my mom would always say, "Aren't those seats available up there?" Oh, you want to sit there? What? And what I'm saying to you, from work to school to college, I'm a college dropout, to college to church, I dealt with the same thing. If God died for humanity, if in fact all lives do really matter, then black lives matter. We don't judge a tree by its statue. We don't judge a tree by its leaves. Judgments can be made, but we judge a tree by its fruit. Whatever fruit that tree produces says to us what the tree is. When we look at the fruit of America and how they lynch black people, how they would tie black men, the right side of your body, to a truck to the right, the left side of your body to a truck to the left, then they'd hit the accelerator to rip your body apart. And this happened in America. We think about how they hung black people from the trees, how black people were eaten by dogs that were trained to hate black people. When we look at the injustices done to black people in America, and then in today's time and climate, we're forced to try to suppress our history, because anytime somebody brings that up, they think you're trying to divide the nations. The nation's already divided. It was divided when you raped our women. It was divided when you made our great grandmothers slaves. It was divided when you gave us the death penalty. It was divided when we would look at a white woman, Emmett Till, you beat us and kill us and hang us. So we're not the ones causing the divide. And whenever you bring it up, I watch how white America says, well, the black community have to stop killing each other. Black on black crime. And then they give the statistics. Here's the marginalization here is totally unfair, because there's really no such thing as black on black crime. When white people kill each other, it's not white on white crime. When white people, 70%, over 70% of all crimes in America is done at the hand of our Caucasian brothers and sisters. And I use that term, brothers and sisters, by virtue of creation, not blood, reach, or heart. Because if we were really brothers and sisters, you wouldn't abuse your own. Over 70% of all crimes are created at the hands of our Caucasian brothers and sisters. It's not that they're evil. It's that they are the majority, so they're responsible for the majority of all crimes that happen in America. White people are responsible for those. The interesting part is over 85% of all of our prisons are filled with black and brown people. 85%. Over 85% of all of our prisons are filled with black and brown people. So would all lives not be appropriate as well? All lives are not under attack. The problem with these numbers is that 85% of all prisons are filled with black and brown people. But African Americans are only 13 to 17% of the U.S. population. So we're living in a modern day genocide. I put on my page this morning, the world won't be right until we are restored to our rightful place. We were first. I have a brother from another mother. His name is Jason Martin. We grew up together, Caucasian brother. Love him and his family with all my heart. He said, who was first for what? So let me break down why African Americans and the world is not going to flow the way that God created to flow until African Americans are restored to their rightful place. When European Americans came to Africa, they didn't take slaves from Africa. They took engineers, nurses, doctors, attorneys, designers, clothing designers. They took brains from Africa. They made slaves out of brains. We built the pyramids. If you study your history, the bodies that is believed and perceived to be the first humans were found in Africa. When you study the Bible is it's a letters from the Jews to the Jews. When you study the Bible and it gives a description of how Jesus looked, the Bible says His skin was as burnt bronze. We always say bronze, but we miss a very important adjective. Burnt bronze. That would be about my complexion. And when you study how Jews look, skin tone, their heritage and where they're from, it's all traced back to Africa. The richest continent in the world is Africa. Every jewel that you can imagine has its origin in Africa. Africa is responsible for diamonds, black diamonds, gold, topaz, the onyx, the ruby. Africa alone is responsible for over 85% of all jewels that we call precious, including human life. So if life started in Africa, what do Africans look like? Well, let me help you in case you missed this in history class or even Sunday school. Africans don't have blue eyes and they don't have blonde hair. Their skin is not pale. When the Bible talks about the creation of man, it is specific in the creative process. It says that man was made of the dirt, the clay of the ground. What color is clay? I'm not talking about beach sand that has been bleached with the water, the salt, and the sun. The clay of the ground. It's not absent of color. It's full of melanin. So we were made from the clay of the ground. Where did you get this European Jesus that has blonde hair and blue eyes? Let me show you how wicked America is. Let me show you how wicked the world is. When they could not deal with the facts of the Bible, they start changing certain things in the Bible and use the Bible as a license to permit slavery. They justified slavery with the Bible, the scripture that says, let every slave be subject to his own master. Let's record a song. I'm not sure how to say your name. Hit me in my inbox. Let's talk about it. Rhonda Oliver, which is why they never wanted us to learn to read. They never wanted us to learn and know the truth about ourselves. That's exactly right. And they stripped us of our history. So we have lost identity. And whenever there's not identity, when you can't identify with who you are, what you are, and where you're from, you are lost and you move accordingly. So most of the crime that happened in the African American community is a result of lost identity. And here's the reality. When Jews kill Jews, it's not Jew on Jew crime. When whites kill whites, it's not white on white crime. So how is it that we can marginalize and echo and label black on black crime? It's just another tool to keep us divided and to make us look evil and bad. When a white boy walks into a black church and kill everyone that is there, they take him to Burger King and the narrative is painted that he had a mental disorder. But when a black man, unarmed black man, is killed, shot in cold blood, what America does to control the narrative is pull up his arrest record and say, well, he was arrested 4 times. That has nothing to do with you murdering him in cold blood. So when we say, would all lives not be appropriate as well? According to the fruit on the tree, we think it should be. But because that's not what's projected, that is not the fruit that America has bore or born or birthed, then I would tell you to take that question and ask Caucasian Americans, ask your government, would all lives be appropriate as well? I don't think I can answer that. But I think you can. So when we trace Bible history, when we trace the historicity of man to its origin, it began with black folk. And anything that God has his hands in is going to return to where he created it before he comes back. There's a scripture in the Bible that says, in the last days, I'm going to stretch my hands out to Ethiopia. And what that literally means is we're going back to where we started. In the end times, black people will rule. We'll show you how powerful love is. Because through everything that we've gone through, we've gotten stronger. We've gotten better, and we are wiser. We shouldn't be where we are right now. But because of the grace of God and our ability to forgive and heal, we don't demonize white America the way they've demonized us. And we have probable cause if we did. When you look at what you did to our ancestors, our ability to love shows you just how strong we are. We can't be broken as a people because we are first. So when I say to you today, when I say to you that Black Lives Matter or No Lives Matter, the value that white America put on themselves, if that value is not shared with who started creation from the first place, with who was first, you're saying no life matter. Well, we're not in the judgment seat to decide that. You are. You built this system and you control the antics. And you have your day. But there is a day that is coming that no man will be able to stop. That day belongs to African Americans. I believe and I have hope that in our lifetime, we will see the light of day once again. A part of that hope, a part of that promise, a part of that covenant is for the first time, America is forced to embrace an African American vice president. And there's nothing America can do about it. Get used to us. We're not going anywhere. We're taking over. We're hated not because of our color. We're hated because of our position. God created us first. And anytime you are first, you're also hated. Ask Cain and Abel. Ask Perez and Judah. Ask Adam and Jesus. The devil hates who's first. But our place will be restored before the Lord's return. Hopefully you've got something out of this coffee time. I'm encouraged and inspired. We're the original queens and kings. It's time to take our rightful place. You're not a second guess. When God created humanity, he had you in mind. You're first. Take your rightful place. Act like it, walk like it, dress like it, be it. Invest in land. Take care of your health. A kingdom is no good if the king and the queen is not alive to rule it. Take care of your health. I love you guys. I do this for the love and the support of the people. If you like to support this cause and what we do in expanding our platform to do all the things that I believe that God has placed in my heart, please join me. Giving a donation. Cash App is on the screen. $ sponsor coffee time. If there's another way that you would like to give, maybe through Zelle or PayPal, hit me in my inbox. I would definitely give you the information. I appreciate your support. I want you to know we are a match made in heaven. Without your ears, I don't have a voice. You make this possible by showing up. I'm grateful and appreciative for you. You all have a great day. Remember, you were born to win, predestined to succeed. There's nothing that can happen to you today where the wisdom on the inside is not able to handle. You got to calm down, slow down, use emotional intelligence, trust the God your maker, and let wisdom speak. When wisdom speak, you will always win. Have a great day. Be productive. And remember, you were first. Act like it. Always remember to think higher, speak life. Don't forget to send those donations. For those of you that have not given your monthly sponsorship, I need that. Appreciate you. Love you.